spontaneous, right? But in other areas, I think it was mostly probably organized massacre.
Thank you very much, Faisal. Okay, now it's the next turn is for the panel. Please. And actually, before going to the panel, so please display the answer. I do apologize. Okay, the answer to that is organized massacre. Thank you very much for the youth. Now, next turn would be the panel. Thank you.
I'll just be brief, since you actually did mention that there was a little bit of both. Well, spontaneity doesn't really happen in the sense that if the news came on the radio and all of a sudden people are going to start reacting. I think there was noise in the system, right? You've heard something that the mother of the country. What is interesting is that some of these widows, they had the picture of Indira Gandhi in their homes. And they said that our mother has died, and this is a very sad thing for us. And they didn't cook on that day, and they were crying that day because Indira Gandhi died. These Sikh women. So even during that time, the Sikhs said that Indira Gandhi and the Sikhs have a very good, cordial relationship. So therefore, there was no idea in most of the Sikhs that something of this type will happen. So what did happen spontaneously was a few trucks or taxis were burnt down, a few businesses, or there were minor skirmishes, nothing at the major level. And in fact, the first person to be attacked is the President of India at that time, Gyani Zail Singh. His cavalcade came right in front of the main hospital in India. It's called AIIMS. It's in central New Delhi. And his cavalcade was stoned. And there was a limited reaction. And people got to understand that this thing is getting very serious. 20 hours after the assassination of Indira Gandhi is when the first killing started happening. So it did take 20 hours for them to gather their resources. And what was important was that the mode was very similar in all of these cases. They were given rods, and all of these rods, the length of them was very similar. They were given this white powder, which was very highly flammable. So where does this white powder come from? This is not something you can go to a pharmacy or a store and pick this white powder. And that was used in the attacks, along with kerosene and other easily available things that they could go in and kill the Sikhs. But the most important is, if I asked you guys, we have to go in and kill every Guatemalan in the Bay Area. How would you find a Guatemalan and say, he's any different from a Puerto Rican or somebody from Mexico? How do you find a Guatemalan? And therefore, in the similar sense, how do you find Sikhs? In such a big city, we can't kill, if I see one Sikh at a time, I'll kill one at a time, and it'll take us forever. In 3 days, we have to go in and kill a lot of Sikhs. So at that point, lists were given by the ruling party at that time, Congress, who said, this is where you go to kill the Sikhs, and these are their businesses. This is where you go and destroy and loot the businesses. So all of it was organized, and they were given instructions. So all of this, therefore, is very organized, and the media blackout was made sure that nobody in the world finds out what is happening. And that's not a mere coincidence. Remember that Indira Gandhi has been assassinated. The world leaders of every major country are coming over there to her cremation. The media from BBC, ITN, and now you've got, of course, all of these cable stations, but at that time, the whole entire world's media was in New Delhi. But these areas were cordoned and they were blocked from normal media access, so nobody would know what's happening. The only reason why some of these footages are out there is because there were few people who were brave enough, who were the soldiers, who were true journalists, who wanted to report everything that was happening, and that's why we have some of these remnants. But it was definitely very well organized, and that became a pilot for Gujarat. That is a pilot that is set over there for any other massacre that the Indian government wants to do in the future.
Thank you very much, Faisal. The next question would be, how many non-Sikhs were killed by Sikhs in November 1984? The youth would be preferred. There's one youth crying, I don't know why.
मेरा नाम वाहिगुरू जी का खालसा वाहिगुरू जी की फतेह मैं तरनजोत सिंह ते फ्रीमॉन्ट तो मैं कहना नंबर 2 52
Thank you. Next youth.
वाहिगुरू जी का खालसा वाहिगुरू जी की फतेह जी। मेरा नाम कीरत सिंह है, मैं यूनियन सिटी तो आया। My answer is number 1, 0.
Thank you, Greg. I would like you to please display the answer. Answer is 0. But again, it could be debatable. But एक बेनती करनी चाहने जोड़े पिछे जिन्हें भी संगतां खड़ियां प्लीज़ आके अपनी सीटां ते आ जाओ। सीटां काफ़ी खाली पईयां जे चेयरां दी लोड़ हैगी चेयरां होर लवा दिन्ने आ पर प्लीज़ ते अपने थोड़े जे सैल फोन्स वाइब्रेट ते कर लो या प्लीज़ उन्होंने साइलेंस कर लो रिक्वेस्ट हैगी। Thank you. So the next turn is panel. Panel will answer this.
See, obvious. See, actually, this question is related to the first question. The whole operation was very well organized, all the way from where the Sikhs are, how are they going to be killed. See, basically, sometimes, like, if you just like the other panelists said, if you go haphazard, it will take you long time. So we are talking about like 5,000, about 5,000, which the government is saying. So if there are 10,000, so think about the time. It was only 3 days. So many people were killed in very short time. So we have actually, if you look through the literature, look through the news, we have not come across any reports of any Hindu being killed. But I can say this, the whole machinery was set up in such a way that there were instances, actually 50 to 150, where Sikhs who were defending themselves were arrested and there were FIRs against them. So the whole thing was so well organized. So we have no reports whatsoever, as again, it all in line with the question you had first. The whole thing was very well organized and the only victims were, so that's why we don't call it riots. For a long time, for maybe 10, 20 years, we ourselves have been calling it riot. It was not a riot, it was a genocide.
Thank you, Bairam Singh. Manmeet Singh wanted to say something before we say something. I would like to request youth to please pay attention. Do not involve yourself in the discussions. You can do it, maybe if you want to talk about something, you can go outside for a couple of minutes, but please pay attention.
अच्छा एक इंटरेस्टिंग फैक्ट सीगा क्योंकि ਅਸੀਂ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਰਨਾ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿ ਵੀ one of the reasons why there's no dialogue is because it's an inter-community conflict. And your best friend might be a Hindu and all of a sudden you feel uncomfortable talking about it. So our approach was, let's take the Hindu viewpoint and the liberal Hindu or intellectual Hindu viewpoint. In doing research, एक fact ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਦੋ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮਰੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬਚਾਉਂਦੇ ਬਚਾਉਂਦੇ ਮਰੇ and ਇੱਕ story ਉਸ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਨਾਲ related ਆ ਦੋਵਾਂ ਦੀ ਥੋੜੀ ਜਿਹੀ ਮੈਂ detail ਸਾਂਝੀ ਕਰਾਂਗਾ ਕਿ ਲੋਕਲ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਦੇ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬਚ ਗਏ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਡਿਸਾਈਡ ਕੀਤਾ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਆਹ ਬੰਦਾ ਸਾਡੀ ਭੈਣਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬਚਾਉਂਦਾ ਬਚਾਉਂਦਾ ਸ਼ਹੀਦ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਭਾਵੇਂ ਹਿੰਦੂ ਸੀਗਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹਦੇ ਘਰ ਅਖੰਡ ਪਾਠ ਕਰਵਾ ਕੇ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਮਾਨ ਸਤਿਕਾਰ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਸਿਰੋਪਾ ਇਹਦੀ ਘਰਵਾਲੀ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਣਾ ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਲਈ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਫੋਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਲੌਂਗੋਵਾਲ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰੋਗਰਾਮ ਹੈ ਵੇਰਵਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਧਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਇਹ ਕਰੋ ਰਾਤੋਂ ਰਾਤ ਜਦੋਂ ਕਾਂਗਰਸ ਦੇ ਗੁੰਡਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਲਾਠੀਆਂ ਲਿਆ ਕੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਤੰਬੂ ਵਗੈਰਾ ਬਣਾਏ ਸੀਗੇ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਢਾਤਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਪਾਣੀ ਰੋੜਤਾ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਅਗਲੇ ਦਿਨ ਭੋਗ ਵੇਲੇ ਇਕੱਠ ਨਾ ਹੋ ਸਕੇ ਤਾਂ ਵੀ ਬੜਾ ਭਾਰੀ ਇਕੱਠ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਧਮਕੀਆਂ ਦਿੱਤੀਆਂ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਹਾਲੇ ਉਹ ਇਲੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਦਾ ਤੇ ਪੂਰਾ all of this was very hot so ਕਹਿਣ ਤੋਂ ਭਾਵ ਕਿ ਉਸ